Hello again, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for another conversation as we continue to highlight the resources, the services, and certainly the experts at the University of West Florida that can help our students, and I'd definitely say faculty and staff as we all get through this. Today, we're going to be talking about digital wellness, and our guest is Dr. Athena du Pré, Distinguished University Professor from the Department of Communication. Dr. du Pré, appreciate you spending a few minutes with us. Thank you.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be here.
Well, so right off the bat, I want to talk about isolation because I think, we're all isolated right now. Even if you may not be the only person in your home, but still we're having that feeling of isolation. At this point, how important is it that we're trying to and continuing to communicate with people, whether digitally or otherwise, outside of whatever dwelling we happen to find ourselves in right now?
It's really important, and I think it's easier for us to take that for granted when we're not getting it. But there are all sorts of fascinating research about the way humans are wired. So we know that babies who don't get regular contact and communication don't thrive. People who have less active support networks don't live as long as others. In some studies, it's 10 years. So it's not like if you're in isolation for 1 week, you're going to shorten your life. But it just reminds us that we really do need that to thrive.
Are there any means of communication right now that might be more important than others or more helpful than others?
We have this great theory in communication. It has this fancy title, Uses and Gratifications. It basically just says that we use media and interactions with others for what we want and what we need. Maybe not always approaching that in the best way, however. So if I'm trying to fulfill that need by staying tuned to the news every moment, maybe not the best. Sometimes you just need a good laugh. There's a perfect way to do that. Sometimes you need to hear another voice. I kind of think of it almost like the food groups, the communication food groups. Make sure you're getting a nice blend is the most important thing.
So to follow up on that, I think it's fair to say that we're all still very much in a gathering mode, right? Trying to get as much information as we can, trying to get questions answered. And there are so many ways to do it now, whether it's whatever feed you get, Twitter, Instagram, whether it's watching a newscast, reading an article, there's so many ways to get information. Is there a point, and it sounds like maybe you think there is, where it's too much, where we need to say, hold on, I'm taking too much in right now?
I definitely think so. And maybe taking the wrong stuff in, choosing one source that you trust, and maybe deciding that I'll check the coronavirus count once a day or something rather than every time it pops up on my phone. I think a little bit of information gives us a sense that we're more in control, but too much information just really underscores how much we're really not controlling about things out in the world right now.
So it's okay to, again, I have felt sometimes I'll do exactly what you're saying. I'll say, for the next 10 hours, I'm just not looking, it's too much and it bums me out. So I'm just going to kind of get away from this right now. But after an hour or two, I feel that itch, has anything happened? Am I supposed to be doing anything? So that becomes difficult to navigate and manage, I would imagine.
It really does. And I think we kind of get hooked on the stimulation of it. And so maybe it feels like a little lackluster unless I'm texting or DMing or those sorts of things all of the time. And maybe finding some other things to fill the time, to take a walk, sit out in your backyard, journal. We talk about communication and we forget that that also includes communicating with ourselves. Journaling is one of the best ways to kind of make sense of our emotions during a crisis.
So on the note of communicating with others, I want to talk about online relationships. Again, these are the segments we're doing have really been geared towards students. And I know, of course, our students, like so many their age, communicate digitally more than not at this point. But not every relationship is a healthy one, certainly not every online relationship. How might they navigate? Because perhaps they're connecting more now than even they were before, which is significant because there was already so much of that going on. How do they navigate what is and isn't a healthy online or digital relationship?
That's a fantastic question. Online and in general, we like to ask people, as a result of this interaction and this relationship in general, do you feel better about yourself? Do you feel like this brings out good qualities in you? All relationships have points where we feel frustrated, but is it a pattern? Is this person trying to sort of isolate you from others? Don't tell people about this or don't talk to them. That's a warning sign. So making you feel worse about yourself, making you feel isolated from others are two really big red flags.
Okay, great. That's great to look for. Lastly, I want to ask you about resources that you may suggest. There's so much to take in and to learn and to make sure we're doing this the best way we can. Do you have any that you might suggest that students or again, faculty, staff, anybody seeing this might look to get more information on how they maintain digital wellness or how they maintain healthy online relationships?
You know, one of my favorite sites is positivepsychology.com. I've actually gone to it several times lately. If
Mm.
you look up positivepsychology.com and look up coping, they have these coping worksheets they talk about, and those things I just listed literally came from one yesterday. Just some ideas when you're not sure what to do, of positive things to do, and they're just really small things that are quite doable and little reminders that we need. So it's one of my favorites.
I will be hitting that site up today, I am sure, and no doubt many others will as well. Dr. Athena du Pré, Distinguished University Professor from the University of West Florida, Department of Communication. Always appreciate your insights. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, and stay safe, Christine.